Hello there. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly and I'm so happy to be here after a bit of an absence. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit under the weather, but I'm coming back because I'm making good on a promise. I'm part of a monthly YouTube sketch challenge where I come together with these creative ladies and we all follow the same sketch and make our take of that sketch on the second Friday of every month. Now, it was actually my turn to choose the sketch this month, and I actually chose a sketch of my own that I created 3 or 4 years ago. Now, I've been creating sketches since 2017, and I've never actually used my sketches as an individual page or an individual sketch. I actually use my sketches in 10 to 12 page workshops. I do simple ones and elevated ones. This is a simple workshop sketch that I created that is a lot of different size strips and layering. I thought this would be great for some photos that I took at our annual camping trip here at the end of July. Now, it was a bit of a fiasco, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later, but I have some colors here, some photos here of two of my children, my youngest son and my middle daughter, and I never ever get to take pictures with them. It's always about the grandkids or the whole family. It's very hard to get us to slow down, and we were all camping this weekend, and I knew that we would be boating and we'd have wet hair and we'd be running all over the place, and there was a beautiful backyard where we were staying and camping, and I thought we could get all of us out in the backyard and take some beautiful pictures. Now, I'm going to use the Season of Green and Gold collection, which I am over the moon in love with. This comes as a suite, a full suite where you can get lots of different parts and pieces, and we're just using the DSP or Designer Series paper today. We're also using some of the coordinating cardstocks. I have Early Espresso, Pecan Pie, Mossy Meadow, a little bit of Old Olive, and Very Vanilla. Now, I'm also going to use a few of the dies that come with this set, but I've actually created a 20-page project or workshop with this gorgeous paper collection and paper suite. I'm doing an enormous online virtually event where we'll be creating all 20 of the pages that you see here. It's going on right now where I have over 200 participants in a private group where they're working through, I think, about 10 or more pre-prep videos, about 8 hours of pre-prep videos. They have almost a month to do that, a little over 3 weeks to work through the pre-prep videos, and then at the end of September, from September 27th to 29th, we'll be creating each of these pages and pulling all of our parts and pieces together. And it's not too late to get in this bash, in this online event, and create these 20 pages out of the Season of Green and Gold collection yourself. Aren't they gorgeous? The gold flecks inside the papers, all of the added elements. We're actually cutting some die pieces right out of the background paper, and I'll link in the description how you can get to be part of that bash and create those 20 pages in that beautiful project. Now, we're actually going to use the Golden Greenery die and stamp set and the Greetings of the Season die and stamp set, a little bit of that. Now, you can see on the Season of Green and Gold pattern paper, there are actually larger icons that you can cut out of the papers with the dies. Now, Stampin' Up! Is known for this, that randomly they will have dies that will match their pattern papers. So you can see how the bells, the pine needles, the little heart leaves, the regular leaf flourishes, and many other parts and pieces can be cut right out of the background pattern paper. Now, you can get these dies separately, or you can get them together with the stamp, and then you can actually create your own layered leaves. There's also a set of vellum that we're not using today. I'm using that on my big online event, but we're not using the vellum today, but those two are able to be cut out with those same dies. Now, I'm bringing in the Early Espresso cardstock. Even though the Pecan Pie goes probably the best with my photos, there's some deeper browns and greens in the background, including my daughter and my son and I's hair. And so I'm pulling in early espresso as a little bit of an 1/8 inch photo mat. So I have a 5x7 photo and two 5x5 photos, which I thought were great for these feature photos to be a little bit larger, and just an 1/8 inch of the early espresso all the way around. Now, we have a lot of strips to work with, and they're all different sizes. So I'm going to help you sort out the sizes here. So I have this piece, this gold piece here that is 1 1/4 by 11 1/2, and this is actually the Stampin' Up! Gold foil paper. It actually has some little copper tones in it. Now, if you're working with Close to My Heart gold foil, that's beautiful as well. It's a little brighter of a tone. Then I have Pecan Pie that is 3/4 by 11, two of those, two of the gold. Then the gold glittery leaves here is 1 by 10 1/2. Love that pattern paper. I have a small tiny strip here that is 1/4 by 11 3/4. You could do 1/2 by 11 3/4 if you wanted to. I have this little mossy piece here that's 3 by 10, two of those. The green gingham is 1 1/4 by 11 1/2. And then I have the striped green, which is 3 by 11. And each of those pieces has two, one each for the left side, one each for the right side. And we're going to do a little bit of play, which is something that I love to do, where you actually rotate the left page to make it the right. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to put my strips, so I'm going to play a little bit with these strips. And I'm going to layer them probably 3 strips under and then put 4 strips over. And then we're going to snuggle that really pretty focal photo into those strips and make it snuggle right up in, like it's snuggling into the corner, and we'll add some added elements. Now, just absolutely ignore this part of the video. I decide to cut a little bit off of the gold strip, and that was 1 1/4 by 11 1/2, but I changed my mind and I put it right back to the 11 1/2. So go with my original measurements, and I'm actually going to toggle these. So I decide that I want the leafy pattern up on top and the gold pattern more on the bottom. And you'll see that I change my mind. Now, I'm being a little bit fussy about this because I'm following my own sketch. But when I created the sketch, I had no pattern to follow. So I was just laying strips out until they were pleasing to my eye. And it's a really good practice when you're creating your own scrapbook page. Lay the strips out until you like them, and don't fuss so much with exactly where they are and that kind of thing. I do give you particular measurements on this because that's my job, but I also like to teach my paper crafters to go with the flow, that so many times when you're relaxed about it, the best creations come out. And so many times when you're dealing with coordinating pages like this, anything goes because they've done the heavy lifting for us. They've made everything coordinate and match for us. So you could arrange these strips in just about any way. And this is actually a great sketch to use for leftovers. If you have just a little bit left of certain things, there are some wider 3-inch pieces that I did use a little bit larger pieces for, but most of the pieces are small enough that they could be done out of leftovers. So I'm getting it, I'm basically the way that I want it, and then I want to anchor it all down. I want to put adhesive on all that and feel really good about where that is. But before I do, I'm going to mess around with the right page. And I think I'm going to actually do it the opposite. So the strips that are on the left page underneath are going to go on the bottom on the right page. Then the strips that are on the bottom on the left page are going to go vertically on the right side on the right page. And it's a great trick. It's something that's been around for years and years when you're trying to make a companion page. You have an incredible left page, an incredible focal page that you love, and you don't know how to make a companion page. You can actually flip the dimensions of that original page. You could shake things up a bit, just like I did, adding 2 photos instead of 1, but we're actually going to build the right page identical to the left page. It's just as if we rotated it and we took the bottom of the left page and rotated it all the way 90 degrees to the right. And you would have that page. You could actually put the pages together identically and then rotate one page. And that would actually give you that companion page. And it works out so great. So about these photos. So we have literally, this is so shameful as a scrapbooker, but we have literally not had full family photos since 2015, actually. We had family photos taken in 2014 and 2015, and I don't know what happened to 10 years, but it just seems like anytime we've wanted to have family photos, we haven't been able to. Like, we haven't been able to get everyone together. So we take an annual camping trip at the end of July every year, and we've evolved from camping to Airbnb-ing it. And we have a special place that we go that has, like, I think there's something like 12 bedrooms in this place, because we have so many of us now, our older son, middle daughter, and youngest son, and all of their children. We have 8 grandchildren. The older grandchildren have friends and boyfriends. And so we just need a bigger space, right? So now I've got those pieces where I think that I want them, and I'm toggling those photos. And one of the reasons, I'm missing the whole point of this video, and I'll go back to my photo story. One of the reasons I'm using green and gold, you're probably thinking, why are you using Season of Green and Gold when you're creating 20 pages in an enormous online event at the end of September? Well, I really love to show versatility, and this video is all about versatility and using the strips to create versatile pages, as well as using a theme that people would assume would be Christmas. So out of the 20 pages that I made for my online event in September, I did some specific Christmas stamping on several of those. A couple of those also have Christmas titles that I cut on the Cricut. But most of those, if you really look close, could be used for anything. They could be used for nature. They could be used for outdoorsy. They could be used for family photos. They could be used for girlfriend trips. There is so much, because that how it became more specific to Christmas was through the stamps, because there are Christmas stamps, and then depending on the side of the paper that you used, of course the bell paper probably lends itself more to Christmas, but all of the other patterns are wonderful green patterns, greens and browns and all of the different tones of nature. So I really wanted to show, because everyone is assuming that the Seasons of Green and Gold is 20 pages of Christmas. It's literally about 4 pages of Christmas, and then the rest of it could be Christmas. You could make it Christmas very easily. You have the materials within the Green and Gold suite to make it Christmas, but it absolutely could be anything else. And I have tons of photos, just like the photos that I'm using here today, that I'm going to scrap on Seasons of Green and Gold on my virtual event. And I'm going to use family photos for that. I am going to do some Christmas as well. So now you can see that I'm actually anchoring everything down. So on the left page, I went about a 1/2 inch in, and then about 3/4 of an inch down or up on that very first floral and gold, like leaf and gold strip. And then I overlapped the gingham a little bit, and then I put the blotchy green flush next to the green gingham, and then over the top I've layered the strips all the way up. So you can see that I'm layering it so that the pecan pie strip ends at about 1 inch, but it's overlapping the gold strip. So I actually adhere the gold strip at about 1.5 inches up, and so that I can layer the pecan pie strip over, and then I put the stripe strip on top, and then the skinnier 1/2 or 1/4 inch strip over that. I'm going to repeat that with those same measurements on the right, from the bottom, and we're going to layer from the top to the bottom, and then put those right strips on. So anyway, told my family, it's crazy. I'm a scrapbooker, and we have had some where most of the whole family is together, like at Christmas in a snapshot, but we've actually had 4 grandchildren since our last formal photos. I do not know how people do it every year for Christmas cards. I really don't know how they pull that off. It's so hard to get our family organized to do that. We're all so busy. Anyway, we decided there's this gorgeous area, wooded area and greens in the back of the Airbnb. It's actually an enormous working farm where we stay. And then it's really close to the boat dock and to the big dam where we go boating, and we take our boats and we do this big camping. And I said, we're going to get everyone together and we're taking photos in this gorgeous backyard. And everybody was down for it. We figured it all out. Well, one thing after another went wrong. My older son, who owns and operates a couple hardware stores and a gas station, had, I think, 3 employees that had problems and couldn't make it to work that day. So he needed the older grandchildren to cover, like one covering the gas station and one covering the store. And he and his wife, my daughter-in-law, were covering. And so I was crushed. It was like, oh no. And of course I understand, but they couldn't come. So we knew that right off the bat. And I'm like, we're going to have to move forward. We're going to get the pictures that we can get. So then about a half an hour before we were getting ready to do the photos, before the sun went down, we wanted evening photos so that they would turn out. I get a call from my husband, and he's in line with a huge semi truck and a cattle pot. And he's stuck between people in front of him and people behind him, and he can't get out. And that's like quite a ways away from where we are. And I was like, I didn't know whether or not to cry or scream or be mad. And I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. And I have not had photos with my daughter, by myself with my daughter, or by myself with my youngest son I can't even remember, probably since their senior photos, all by myself, and I love these. I love these. I love that it's us and that we're together. And absolutely, I'm going to schedule another time to try to be able to get more family photos, but I'm embracing this. We'll probably never have this chance again. And I love the photos. So now I'm pulling out the golden greenery. So many gorgeous flourishes. If you are not doing anything with Seasons of Green and Gold, and you were going to choose just one of the stamp and dies, I would totally choose golden greenery dies. These are to die for, literally. Look at these pieces. So I'm pulling out the dies that I use to cut out 3 each of the flourishes. So I did 3 in early espresso of those large flourish leaves. I did 3 that I cut out of the pattern paper of the heart leaves. I did 3 of the pine that I cut out of the pattern paper. And then I did 3 of the rounded leaves that I cut out of the pattern paper. Then I did 3 each of the shorter pine sprigs and 3 each of the longer pine sprigs. And I thought, I don't know if I need this many, but it was 3 of everything. And I love them. I did no stamping. I didn't use the stamp for this particular layout. I do in my bash, in my online virtual event in September. I also thought we might need a couple little pieces. Now I am keeping this very simple. So I did a little top of a tag in very vanilla, and then another little tag from the that one is called Greetings of the Season Dies. And I thought I would do a little journaling on that, or maybe a little play with the title on that. So let's pull all these pieces off, and we're going to just create some clusters. I'm not doing very much on this layout at all. You could do inking. You could ink every die. You could do inking in the background. You could do stitching with pen. You could do so many things on this layout, and you could do some background stamping, but I want it to be clean. I want it to be simple. There's no Cricut cuts in this. I want it to really be featuring those photos of my youngest son and my only daughter, and that we are there together having these photos. And we did go on to have a wonderful camping, boating weekend, and my husband did finally make it, and the other grandkids finally made it. But with my older son being gone, that's 4 more grandkids that weren't in the photos. So I was just sad because I want a picture of grandma with all 8 of them, but I'm going to get it. We're going to get it, and I'm not going to give up. So I'm just kind of I put one of each leaf in each spot, except for two of the darker green ones on the bottom. I just sort of divided them out, thinking of the rule of the visual triangle and getting the clusters. Now, I just lied. I said there were no Cricut cuts, and then I decided to cut my title off of the Cricut, and I thought my children are my heart. It's all about the grandchildren now. Probably in the last 10 years, it's been all about the grandchildren. I mean, we have been empty nesters for 14 years. And so it seems like there's a big switch from your children to your grandchildren when you start to have grandchildren. But my children will still always be my heart, no matter how many grandchildren they give me, no matter how many years go by. They will be my babies. They will be my children. And I feel about them the way that they feel about their children. And I feel that way about my grandchildren. So I chose my heart. I cut that in early espresso. I'll link that design space. I'll just make that a free design space. It's easy to find if you type my heart, but I'll make it easy for you so that you can find it, and I'll link that in the description. I think I would like to put my on the top of the tag, and then heart on the top of that, and make that title up there, and then just build clusters around that. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and my fine tip glue pen from Stampin' Up. And I apologize. So I don't know if you guys have even noticed, but I have been absent. I don't know how long, 2 weeks for sure, if not 2.5, maybe longer, from YouTube. And I have, as you can tell, been very sick. I also had a long trip planned, and I had planned to get so many videos done prior to the trip, and then also got sick. And then I also had the Green and Gold Bash to finish, because it's going to be a month of all of the people that are in my online virtual event group as I'm speaking here, working through my pre-prep videos. I had 8 hours worth of videos to get done for that. And so I don't like being inconsistent. I don't like not being on YouTube every week, but it was just one of those things. In fact, I was not even going to make this video. I just kept thinking, I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to sound better. I don't like people to listen to my nasally tone on my YouTube video, but I made a promise to the Collab team. You know, we are the Sketch Hop team, and I made a promise that every Friday, come rain or shine, I was going to get my video up. And I am very, very down to the last minute, and I don't even know if I'm going to make it quite on time, but it's going up today, and I just decided I'm going to have to record it with the tin can sound. So now I have the My Heart in there. Again, I could do some background inking. I think it would be really pretty with a little light Mossy Meadow ink if you wanted to rub with a blending brush under my on the tag with a little Mossy Meadow. I think that would be super pretty. I am going to do a tiny bit of splatter, but I'm just resolving myself. I'm using a Simply Scrappin' sketch from an old Simply Scrappin' workshop of mine, and I want to keep it simple. It isn't Simply Scrappin' because there is the Cricut title, and there are dies, and my simple workshops don't include any dies or stamping or Cricut cuts, but I think it's still very, very simple and easy to put together, and I love the versatility of it. And again, my focal topic of this video is just versatility and not thinking Christmas. Think family, think outdoor, even camping. You don't have to make it more elegant with the flourishes and the leaves. You can actually put flourishes and leaves behind other things. You can put them behind signs. You can put them behind a boat. You can put them behind so many things and make this outdoorsy or campy if you wanted to. Nature and hiking. I would think this would be an absolute gorgeous collection for scenery. There's so many people. I know people who go and do fall barns, and they do fall foliage and summer foliage, and I think these would be super for that. Even farmers market photos, things like that. So I'm just playing around. As you know, I've sped this up quite a bit. I'm layering and trying to get some depth some height, and some color balance. So by putting the early espresso title on the top and then having that one sprig of early espresso on the upper left, the lower right, and then the upper right page again, I have the color balance with that early espresso and then the title, because the only other spot where we have the early espresso is the photo mats. And so I've gotten color balance there. I've got a little bit of balance with each type of leaf. So I have pine in each of the clusters, and I have the rounded ones in each of the clusters, and I have the heart leaves in each of the clusters. And I think that really gives balance. You don't have to have it perfectly balanced so it's so symmetrical all the way, but if you have some of the same elements in each cluster, it really does help. So I've decided to put a little tag in for my journaling, and instead of going across the two photos in the center with a cluster, which I was very tempted to do, I love doing that with florals, going all the way across the middle of two photos, but I'm thinking just one heart leaf and a little bit of journaling that says that my children will always be my heart. Now I'm going to move one of these aside and put out my all-purpose mat, and we're going to do a little splattering. We're going to take that early espresso ink, press it into my all-purpose mat just a little. I'm going to take a spray bottle of water and get that kind of wet and pool that up. I'm taking a little water brush. You can take a little tiny child's paintbrush. You can take a water brush and another pen or a pencil, and we're just going to do some random splatter. Now, most of the time I would cover up my photos and I would cover up my parts and pieces so that they don't get splattered, but I'm just going for it. I'm just going to be brave, and I want it to be very random. I don't care if some of them are a little bigger and some of them are a little blotchy and some of them are a little smaller. I think just two little spots there, and we're going to grab some gems. We're going to do bling. It's never complete without bling. We're going to do a tiny bit over here on the lower right, and you're going to see I get a couple little bigger splotches, and I get that on the pecan pie, and I'm okay with that. And then we'll do a little over here on the right so that when you put the two pages together, the left and the right together, it really flows. And now I have some leftover gems. I've been loving our kits, the Stampin' Up! Kits. I've been putting all kinds of cards together with the kits. I need fast cards. I need giveaway cards, and they're beautiful. But there's always seems like there's a little extra bling left over, like bonus, right? And these little brown gems were left over, and they're another lighter shade than the early espresso. So I'm putting some large and some small ones all over. I love the layers of the strips. I love the focal photos. I love the clusters of the golden greenery. I love it. I love the simplicity of it, and I think it's very easy to case. It's very easy to copy this and to make it your own, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I had so much fun. I really hope that you'll check out my online event and where we're creating 20 pages with this season of green and gold set that you're going to love. It's not too late to get in there and to get all of that pre-prep done and be part of that at the end of September. I'll let you know how you can qualify to do that in the link. I'll link everything that I used here in the description, and be sure that you check out every single one of the Sketch Hop videos. These creative ladies go to a lot of work to bring you their take of the sketches, and we'll see you again on the second Friday of October. See you soon. Bye-bye.